through a little bit easier. On the front side of the notes where it says trigonometric ratio signs, you know how that's a really big box? Off to the side, it might be handy just to put the reciprocal pairings on it, because what we're going to be doing is finding like sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, cotangent. So just on that front side, I would make sure you have this just so you remember sine's reciprocal. Anybody remember what sine's reciprocal is? Cosecant. Cosine's reciprocal is secant. Tangent's reciprocal is cotangent. So I would add that to the front side of yesterday's notes. I tried to put everything on yesterday's front side only, so that when you guys are going through our review and everything, you don't ever need to like be flipping back and forth between stuff. Because over the next like week and a half, everything is kind of based off of what we're going to go through today. All of the examples, you're just going to put them down on the desk. I think we have like 12 to go through, and ideally like the first 4 might seem really goofy, but then by the end of it, you will feel a lot better. What we're going to be doing is finding exact values of sine, cosine, and tangent, so this is all no calculator stuff today. So if just follow along as best you can. I will explain the first couple, and then I'll kind of like give you guys time to try it, and then we'll go through them all together. So you guys just need a whiteboard marker. All right, first one. These ones are going to look a little bit different than yesterday. Yesterday, we did like sine, cosine, and tangent. Today, we're just going to do one of them. So we're going to find the sine of 30 degrees. Did you get the front side?
Yeah.
Good. All right, so the sine of 30, you start by drawing a triangle. 30 degrees. Remember, you always measure from the x-axis, so 30 degrees is going to put us in which quadrant? First quadrant. You make it into a triangle. Does your triangle go down to x or over to y?
Down.
Down. Always go down to x. That angle is 30 degrees. So on the bottom of yesterday's notes, we have our special right triangles. Because when we make these triangles, they will always be a special right triangle. What kind of triangle is this?
30-60.
A 30-60. So in a 30-60, it's on a unit circle, so label the nice leg as a 1. In a 30-60, what is the nice part? The short side. The 1 always goes across from the 30 degrees. Always. Find your 30 degrees, the 1 is always across from it. So then where does the square root of 3 go? Below it. The square root of 3 would be across from the 60 degrees. You don't need to label that 60 degrees, but like it is always across from the 60. What is your hypotenuse always going to be? 2. Once you have that, we kind of just got to use SOHCAHTOA. The one thing we have to keep in mind, all students take calc. What letter are we in?
All.
A, all. That means what is positive in that quadrant? All of them. So if we want to find the sine of 30 degrees, we know it's positive because all of them are positive when the triangle's in the first quadrant. Do we go from the angle touching the x-axis or the one above? X-axis. Everything is to the x-axis. What ratio does sine stand for? Yeah, 1/2 because it's opposite over hypotenuse. So as soon as you draw that picture, honestly, the hard part of the day is getting the triangle in the right spot and labeling the sides the right thing. Questions on that one?
That's it.
That's it. So on these ones, if you're told to just find the sine, you just find the one you're asked for. So these, no. All right, next one. 45 degrees. Yep. So on these ones, if it's like, you see how that just says cosine?
Yeah.
We're not going to find all threes. Just, yeah, you can save time and just
So
find
you're
one.
finding all 3 today?
No, we're just finding the one we're being asked about, which is kind of nice. All right, 45 degrees. What quadrant is 45 degrees? First quadrant. Again, always make it to the x-axis. Our angles always measure up, so there's 45 degrees. What kind of triangle is this? 45, 45. Look on the bottom of your notes. What is the nice part of a 45, 45? The leg. So what do we label the legs? 1. So those bottom 2 triangles on your notes, you will only set up your triangles in that way. In a 45, 45, how long is the hypotenuse? Square root of 2. So those numbers will never change. All students take calc. Where are we at? 8. So that means our cosine ratio is going to be positive or negative? Positive. Everything is positive there. From the angle touching the x-axis, what ratio is cosine? Adjacent over hypotenuse. So from this angle, what's our adjacent? 1. What's our hypotenuse? Square root of 2. It's positive because everything is positive. Should we leave that as an answer? No. What do we multiply by to fix it? What's 1 times the square root of 2? What's the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? 2. Because isn't it really the square root of 4, which is 2? So far, okay, alright. Alright, next one, 270. Alright, so step 1, you find your angle. So 270 degrees is where? It's straight down, right? Because it goes 90, 180, 270. Now something that's really tempting, whenever we draw our triangles, like I'm going to go back to this one. When you make your triangles, like you put down your angle and then you go to the x-axis into the middle. Can you do that here? No, you can't go to the x-axis into the middle. This does not make a triangle. So if it doesn't make a triangle, you have to remember this point is on a unit circle. So that's the middle section of the notes from yesterday. You write the ordered pair. Does this move side to side at all? No. Does it move up or down? Down 1. Good. The reason you write that is every ordered pair on the unit circle, every corner on the unit circle, what does the first number always stand for? Cosine. What's the second number? Sine. So if you are on one of the corners, you write down the ordered pair. The first one is always your cosine. The second one is always your sine. So the sine of 270 is -1. So it's just remembering that order. Remember these go in alphabetical order. C comes before S. So cosine is the first number, sine is the second number. All right. Where's 360? Is it a triangle or one of the corners?
One of the corners.
Left, right, up, or down? The right one. It's all the way around the circle. We came back to where we started. So if it's on one of the corners, can't make a triangle, so you have to write down the ordered pair. What's the ordered pair for this point? 1, 0. The reason you do that, and honestly, if you guys check my work, I do this on every single one. What does the first one always stand for? Cosine. Second one is always sine. I do that every time just so you can keep the order straight. The problem on this one is we want tangent. You have to divide. On your notes, the tangent is always what over what? Sine over cosine. So what is our sine number? What is our cosine number? What's 0 divided by 1? 0. Tangent is a goofy one to remember because it's not one of the points you have to divide it. In SOHCAHTOA, what does tangent stand for? Opposite over adjacent. Does that match up with sine over cosine? In the ratios, what does sine stand for? Opposite over hypotenuse. It uses the opposite. What does cosine use? The adjacent. So it's still opposite over adjacent. They match up in that way. So if you're like, ooh, which way do I divide? They match up. Opposite, opposite, adjacent, adjacent. All right. This one. This is technically the new stuff. Because did we find secant yesterday? No. Do not worry about secant. Instead, find that angle. So 120 degrees. What quadrant is it in? The second quadrant, because remember halfway around a circle is 180. We're at 120. When you draw on your angle, where does it always go? X-axis or down to the y? Down to the x. And then be careful here. From here to here is 120 degrees. Is that even in our triangle? No. So you need to figure out how much is in that triangle. It is either going to be 30, 60, or 45. Nothing else. 60. Because halfway around a circle is how much? 180. We stopped at 120, so there is 60 left over. So you have to figure out how far are you away from 180. It has to be 30, 60, or 45. So this is for sure a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Where is the 1 going to go? On the bottom. These ones are always tricky. In a 30, 60, 90, across from the 60 is always going to be the square root of 3, because that's the long leg. Your 30 would be up here, which means the 1 is across from it. So make sure you just have those match up. On your note sheet, if you want to draw arrows from the 30 to the 1 and the 60 to the square root of 3, like those always pair up. What's our hypotenuse always going to be? 2. Here's where, this is our first time we're in a quadrant over here. All students take calc. What letter are we in? S. So that means what is positive in that quadrant? Sine. Sine is positive. However, we want to find secant. If your goal is to find secant, do not find secant. Instead, find its reciprocal. So what does secant come from? Cosine. So what we're going to do, like off to the bottom, is we're going to find the cosine of 120. What does cosine equal? Yeah, it's 1 over 2, and we know it's negative because only sine is positive. It is the, from this angle, adjacent over hypotenuse. So the reason we find cosine is if we want to then find secant, what do you do to your cosine to find your secant? You flip it. So what does 1 over 2 flip to? It's the reciprocal to cosine.
No, it's
Cosecant. CSC. If this one is negative, what do you think its reciprocal is?
Negative.
Still negative. So the negatives will just follow. Like, they're going to be the same. What's 2 over 1 the same as? Negative 2. So, for the reciprocals, do not ever find the reciprocal. Find what it's normally, and then just flip it. It's way easier that way. Alright. Step 1, where do you draw an angle for? 240. So if you don't know where to start these, always start with your angle. On every assessment you guys take, these problems are worth like 4 points. 1 is for your triangle, 1 is for the sides of your triangle, 1 is for is it positive or negative in the right way, and there's only 1 for the answers. Please, please, please try to think in terms of the x-axis. How far is it halfway around a circle? From here to here is how far? 180. We went to 240. How far past 180 did we go? 60 degrees. So I know it is tempting to be like, ooh, 270. Do not. Always base it off of your x-axis. So how far are you from 180? How far are you from 360? Nothing else. Only do the x-axis for everything. What goes across from the 60? Square root of 3. So then other leg is a 1, hypotenuse is a 2. All students take calc. Where are we at? Tangent. So tangent is positive. If we want to find cosecant, we shouldn't find cosecant. What should we find first? Sine. Okay. So we're going to find the sine. Because if we have our sine, we can just flip it. So the sine of the angle touching the x-axis, what is our opposite? What is our adjacent, or hypotenuse? 2. So is sine positive or negative down there? Negative. So if you're looking for cosecant, just find your sine, because then how do you get your cosecant? If this one is negative, what's cosecant? Negative. What's that going to flip to?
-2.
To start with, it's just 2 over square root of 3. So literally just do your flips. Like flip it. Can you leave a square root on the bottom? So what do both top and bottom get multiplied by? Square root of 3. Can the 2 and the 3 multiply together? No. So it's a negative 2 root 3. Square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is 3. Good. if, like, you don't have to show me this multiplying step if you know the radical is just going to move up and then it goes away on the bottom. How are we feeling with this so far? Pretty. My goal is that you guys are going to do so many of these. I want you to see that they are the same problem over and over again a million different times, because our next week in here is really just like tweaking this in little ways each time. Like, instead of this, we're going to see this, but it all is this picture in the end. So, like, yeah, Jacob, Danny, this is literally all we did yesterday. What quadrant are we in?
Last one.
Last one. All right. We have 3 options for that angle. What are our 3 options? 45. Exactly. So if it's 315, any 5 is going to end up being 45. If you're not sure, all the way around a circle is 360. How far did we stop away? Like, you can do the math. You get 45. But yeah, you guys will get good at recognizing like anything that ends in a 5, like it has to be 45. What do you label your legs? 1, 1, hypotenuse. What's positive down here? Cosine. All students take calc. Cosine is positive. If we want to find cotangent, what do we find first? Tangent. What ratio is tangent? Opposite over adjacent, positive or negative? Negative. So it's really just negative 1. So when you get cotangent, if you flip a 1, which remember is really 1 over 1, what is it still going to be? A 1. So what is the cotangent? Negative 1. So sometimes, especially with tangent, cotangent, you might get answers that are the same. That's fine. You get it, G?
Yeah, I think I'm doing good.
How do you get a negative 1?
Because when it's down here, only cosine is positive. Everything else will be negative. Do it up. I would rather go to the straight and have a lift there. And then just done for one. Oh, I'll give you another set. What's the bottom of this triangle? How long is it? 1. How tall is it? Hypotenuse 2. So across from the 60 is the square root of 3. What does tangent stand for? What's our opposite? Adjacent. Is it positive or negative? Positive, because everything is positive in the first quadrant. Did you get that? Thumbs up if you did. Good, good, good. All right, cosine 150. We have like 5 left to do. Again, my goal is to watch you guys get bored with these. You guys just click them in.
Not gonna lie, I'm really bad at doing this thing.
Okay, so how far away is that from 180?
30.
So that's it.
Okay.
So however far away it is from 180, if it's in these two, that's what the angle is. If it's over here, it's how far away it is from 360.
Okay.
What you got, Jack? Oh, you're missing something. So, if it's up in this quadrant, only sign this quadrant, so automatically. What are you missing, Jake? Alright, step 1. How big is that angle? 30. It's 30 away from 180. Across from the 30, 1, and then square root of 3, 2. Cosine. What's our adjacent? Hypotenuse. 2. What's wrong? It's negative. All students take calc. You guys will get so used to me just walking around while you guys are doing a problem. And if I just go like this, you have to think all students take calc. Hey, you're probably off by your sign. Done. Do you have to rationalize that? No. Alright, go!
What?
Again, I want a goal of boredom from these. Yeah, do it. So, when you're doing it, whenever you set it up, whatever angle it is, the 30 has the one problem in it, the 60 has
No.
so then, like, when you set up this one where it's 210, so then how big is that? So from here to here is how far? 180, how far further did it go? Far away. So that's good. So then once you know your 30,
That was my question. So, how do you know?
Don't label this one usually. It's always off of like how far is it from 180 and over here. That will go up here. And then you just do your bearings. If it's over here, how far is it from here? So like how far away is it from your horizontal line? That's over there. Exactly. Yep. How big is our angle? 30. Good. What's positive down there? Tangent. So the sine of our angle. Yep. Alrighty. Almost. We can almost do something else.
Does it have like a fun Valentine's Day activity or something like that?
I'm not fun.
Oh, that's too bad.
Seriously, list qualities about me. Fun. No.
What? Do we have candy?
You have candy for me.
No.
So do I have candy for you?
No.
On our test, or something like that, do you want us to draw it still?
Yeah. So one for the picture, one for the points. All right. Where is 90? It is an ordered pair. When you write your ordered pair, what do you label the first number? Cosine. Second number, sine. To find the tangent of it, you have to put them in what order? Sine over cosine. So what is our sine? Sine is 1. Cosine is answer undefined. You cannot divide by 0. Did you get it? Yeah. Okay, these last 3, if something is going to throw you off or you're going to overthink it, it's probably going to be these last 3. Again, my goal, boredom, because you see how repetitive these are.
You hit the goal.
It is.
25 minutes ago.
That's fine.
Right when class
Because
started.
next week, when we start doing these with like other things, and you're going to be like, what is going on? I'll be like, remember how bored you were?
I don't know. I think I'm good with boredom as long as we don't go there.
Where is it?
What is so like what?
Well, CSC.
Let's do this one as a class.
All right, where is 180 degrees?
Left side, right there.
What's the ordered pair?
-1 is 0.
What does the -1 stand for?
Cosine.
Second one.
Sine.
All right. So if you want to find cosecant, what do you actually find?
Sine.
Okay. What does the sine equal?
0.
Okay. That's fine. But we need to be able to flip that, right? Which means we need to have it be a fraction. People look up for this one quick. That's not a fraction. What can you put underneath something to make it a fraction?
A 1.
When you flip that, what does it turn into?
1.
1
Zero.
over.
0.
Can you divide by 0?
Technically, you cannot.
No, it is undefined.
UND.
So correct. 0 flipped is undefined because that'll put the 0 on the bottom. So that's the first heads up of don't get in a roll of this is so easy. Be careful about your flipping. Next one, go.
Oh. I got really. That was cool.
How far past did we go past 180? 60. So, √3, 1, 2. All students take, what's positive down there? Tangent, just the t's. Secant, what do we find first? Cosine. What does cosine equal? So what is secant? -2. All right, something that's going to pop up on your assignment. What does, I'll do it on the last one. All right, last one. For some reason, this angle is always the trickiest angle to find. How big is that angle? It's 30. I don't know why it's always so tricky.
What?
Like, people always put that as a 60.
Yeah.
Like, always. I don't know why, but it's always put as a 60. But remember, 360 is all the way around a circle, so you stop 30 short. All right, so if you want to find cotangent, what should you find first? Tangent. Is tangent going to be positive or negative? Negative. All students take calc. Tell us what is positive down there. Just the cosine. What is tangent going to equal here? What's our opposite? What's our adjacent? Okay, this can save you a lot of time on the homework. Is this our final answer? No. What are we going to do to this answer? Flip it. So did you guys hear how Jack said it's √3/3? Like, is that wrong? No, but it's not needed. Because if this is your tangent before you fix it, that is not your final answer. Because when you flip it, now what's up top? √3, now it's on the bottom, a 1. So do not rationalize things or fix the radicals until you're like all the way down. Until you flipped it, it'll just save you some time because then you won't need to like fix it again. All right. When you guys come up here,